La Santé prison in southern Paris is one of France's most famous prisons, with VIP and maximum security sections. The prison consists of two levels, the upper and the lower. Until 2000, the inmates were racially segregated. There was a block for Western Europe, Black Africa, North Africa, and the rest of the world. The prison was built in 1867 with 500 cells, eventually expanding to 1,000 cells designed to accommodate 2,000 inmates, and was a site of public executions until 1939. The prison is so brutal, many inmates take their own lives instead of serving out their sentences. In 1999, 124 inmates ended up taking their own lives. Most of the atrocities at La Santé went unreported and ignored by the guards until Veronica Vasseur's report. Vasseur worked as a doctor in prison and began writing her experiences in a diary to record the unbelievable conditions these inmates had to endure. The book shocked the public and provoked a parliamentary evacuation of the situation. Vasseur claimed 4 inmates were squeezed into a cell for up to 23 hours daily. They were forced to sleep in dirty mattresses, crawling with bugs, and had to fill cracks in their cells with clothing to keep rats from flooding their cells. The prison system also creates a hierarchical prison systems has inmates that influence others too, making the conditions worse for the weaker inmates. Vasseur saw many inmates begin to go insane with the inhumane conditions they were forced to be living in. The hygiene was unbearable, allowing only 2 showers a week despite the extreme 100-degree conditions that the inmates endured. The most depressing aspect of the prison was how overcrowded it was. As recently as 2013, Etienne Noël, a prominent lawyer and advocate for inmates' rights in France, published infuriated reports that La Santé, each prisoner, had no more than 2 square meters to himself. The maximum security cells are even more claustrophobic. Tight compartments where you can almost stretch your arms and touch both walls simultaneously. Overcrowding was a significant factor in inmates ending their lives. It was also a great incentive to escape. Probably the most notable of all the escapes from La Santé was the Michael Vajour in 1986, whose wife Nadine swooped into the courtyard to snatch him up in a helicopter she was piloting. Number 6. Camp 14 Kaesyeon, North Korea. Near the middle of North Korea is a 60-square-mile prison facility known as Camp 14, or Kaesyeon. North Korea built Camp 14 in 1959 near the country's center, about 40 miles north of Pyongyang. Camp 14 is considered a political prisoner camp and can hold 15,000 inmates, all serving life sentences for being enemies of the state. Like all political prison camps in North Korea, Kaesyeon segregates inmates from the general prison population. The country considers them unredeemable because they have committed political crimes and punishes them for those crimes through unending hard labor. Those sent to the camp include officials deemed to have performed poorly in their job. People have criticized the government and anyone suspected of engaging in anti-government activities. However, some of these inmates are victims of the regime's 3 generations of punishment. 3 generations of a prisoner's families are also sent to the camp and have to spend their whole lives there without committing a crime themselves. Economic activities that employ inmates as slave labor, including mining, textiles, farming, and raising livestock. Inmates in the camp are required to work for long periods, often from 5:30 a.m. to midnight. Children are not exempt either. They have to work after school and rarely see their parents. Induced starvation is common among these inmates, who become so desperate that they catch and eat rodents, frogs, and snakes, even resorting to cannibalism. Unsurprisingly, many pass from malnourishment, illnesses, and work accidents, and the after effects of torture. The total control zone is a life sentence, with death as the only exit. Shin Dong-hyuk was the only known prisoner who escaped in 2005. In one of his recounts, he overheard his mother conspiring to help his brother escape and had to report it to his teacher. Later, he had to watch as officers took his mother and brother's lives. Survival meant living by the rules, which included exposing anyone in breach of camp regulations, making this camp so dangerous. Number 5. Rikers Island, USA.